have one spokesperson share a short speech about how meaningful this woman was to many of us. Some indicated we should take more time, more than a few minutes to honor her, but you may be surprised that Marilyn has been gone from this church for 31 years. So as we want to honor our past, we cannot dwell on our past. I'm going to share a few stories and thoughts about Marilyn and a few pictures, because life's more fun with pictures. So, let's see, that's a lovely picture. Marilyn Stavenger attended Yale Seminary and began her ministry at Park in 1961 as an associate minister and director of youth and women's activities. She became our senior pastor in 1978. She left in 1988 to join Eden Seminary as an associate professor and taught there for many years. She returned to Park many times. And as Pastor already said, she was so glad to see new faces that she didn't know, because that meant that we were growing and moving on. According to Mary Stoner, the search committee saw its first glimpse of Marilyn, a single woman, pulling up to Park in a convertible, which in 1961 raised a few eyebrows. Over her time here, she inspired us, but also challenged us to think in new and different ways than our traditional background suggested. She was young, but she appealed not only to youth, but she was loved by everyone. Park Church was ahead of its time in welcoming and supporting a female pastor, as Ed had stated, especially when it came time to promote her to senior pastor. She was here with us for 26 years before she decided to move on to her new challenge at Eden. Marilyn was what some of us would now call a peace and justice minister, and was active in many community organizations around Toledo and St. Louis. She was one of the original board members of Hospice of Northwest Ohio. Founding director of Hospice stated that, and these pictures have nothing to do with what I'm saying, I just had some fun pictures. The hospice director stated that Marilyn was very talented, and she gave us a lot of moral grounding. She was sort of a woman for all seasons. She was fun to talk with, but she was very compassionate. Think, at that time period, there weren't a lot of women in ministry. She broke a lot of ground in that regard. In the words of Bob Seafang, she was more than a pastor. She was a confidant, a counselor, a motivator. She had all those qualities you want in a minister. Doug Miller remembers that while Marilyn could sometimes be a clown with the youth, and I'm sure some of you over here remember, she had this little comedy routine she called Ships, and if we had just had YouTube back then, we could all enjoy that. But she took confirmation seriously. Deb remembers having to memorize and recite the 23rd Psalm for Marilyn as part of confirmation. Deb found it quite moving that this week she was asked to read the 23rd Psalm for Marilyn's funeral yesterday in St. Louis. Oh, I must have been this fast. My finger must have been hit these. Anyway, there are 3 particularly meaningful memories of Marilyn that I have. And let me go back to this one. She led our high school youth group, and I came to know her much better as we went on a youth trip. And I'm sure many of you have your fondest memories as youth members on a trip. Debbie also remembers the youth trips best. And Joan Swarthout was one of our leaders on this youth trip, so I'm so sorry to hear that she's gone. Marilyn took us to Philadelphia, Boston, and New York City in 1976, which, if you remember, was the bicentennial year. We had 3 station wagons full of kids, 1 red, 1 white, and 1 blue, just by chance. Marilyn had planned many exciting bicentennial activities for us, but it was also a work trip. She taught us the value of hard work and service, and that it was still possible to have fun. It was the than when you play together. A few years later, Marilyn married my husband and I in the Park Chapel. I can still remember her beaming smile as I walked down the aisle to receive her blessing. I could see that she was gratified to be able to marry me, one of the kids who had led and followed the youth program. And I'm sure she married many of you. I found this gem also in some pictures. A few more years later, I clearly remember her at my first son's bedside. Philip was in the neonatal intensive care, delivered 10 weeks prematurely, and was fighting for his life. I asked Marilyn if she thought we should have some kind of an emergency baptism. She gently and confidently told me that all babies go to heaven, that I shouldn't worry about whether he was baptized or not. And that same weekend, she was leaving town for Eden, so I was grateful she had been able to visit and reassure us in our parents. Marilyn was an early supporter of the LGBTQ community, and she led her own St. Louis congregation to join the open and affirming movement, as I did for Park. When Marilyn heard that we had voted overwhelmingly to support the open and affirming initiative at Park, she was proud, excited, and a little surprised. She was glad that we had grown enough over the years to prove this initiative, as it was very near to her heart. Even though losing her to Eden Seminary seemed like a shocking and painful separation at the time, we, of course, have gone on to have many other good pastors and have continued to grow and change. We now know the success is a group effort, and with God's blessing, we will continue to do good work. I believe she would be proud of the level of mission Park has continued over the years. In her words, "We are a life-saving station in a world where death and despair are daily companions. A church exists for mission as much as a fire exists for burning." Marilyn struggled with cancer for the last 6 years and died January 30th at age 84. To quote Rick Fields in response to her obituary, her middle initial should be C for compassion. She always had that beautiful smile on her face, and she led her congregation with such style and grace. When I think of her, my heart smiles. God bless you, Marilyn. In her own words, life is a gift,